Let's turn this ordinary plain grocery store cake into this scary mummy cake. Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new, please subscribe to this channel and hit all post notifications like the little bell right next to it. So for today's video, I wanted to hop on the trend of taking an ordinary plain store-bought cake and turning it into something else. So with my knife, I just roughly sketched out the shape that I wanted, and then I just cut off all the excess cake and I saved the rest for myself because this was a Hershey's syrup chocolate cake and I cannot let that go to waste. So I just saved the rest of the pieces for myself later. Now to make this more like a head shape, I went ahead and just rounded off the sides, cut off any rough edges, that way it came out really round and smooth. So now was the time when I had to really start cutting out the face features, which this part made me so nervous, you guys. I did not know how this was going to turn out, so I just did my best. I did the same thing, so I roughly sketched out where my eyes, nose, and mouth was going to be, and then I just started to cut out the eyes. But this made me so nervous, and I'm glad it turned out really great. I also wanted to define like where the cheeks were because a mummy starts decaying, so I just wanted to make it look like it was super skinny, so I just cut those pieces out. After I was happy with carving out the face, I went ahead and iced the cake, which this was absolutely super hard to do because every time I would lay some icing down, it would want to lift off the cake and it would take like some of the cake up. So that was hard, but I iced it as best as I could, and once I did that, I set this into the fridge just so the buttercream can firm up. I wanted to add a lot of texture to the face, so I'm using modeling chocolate here that I made the night before. And when you're using modeling chocolate, because I had just taken my cake right out of the fridge, it was cold, so it made my modeling chocolate cold. So if you're just going to use modeling chocolate, make sure that this comes to room temperature so that it's easier to blend the seams. But I knew I was going to add a lot of texture and everything, so I wasn't too worried about this little two pieces not going together. So now I'm just going to add my nose, and again, it's not blending in just yet because the underneath modeling chocolate was still cold, but I just wanted to kind of define where I wanted the nose to be, so that way when I put in the eyes and everything else, everything looks proportioned. So I wanted my mummy to have some like rotting teeth, which this is actually the first time that I'm making teeth on any of my cake creations, so I was super excited to do that. But if I was again to do this next time, I think I would have put the bottom teeth closer to the top instead of just leaving a gap, because if you see at the end, I just had to fill that in with black, like gel food coloring. So, I mean, you live and you learn. And now I'm adding another piece of modeling chocolate to create the gums on my teeth. This is probably the funnest part about this cake, was making the teeth and the gums. That's why I love modeling chocolate as a cake medium, because you can just create so much texture and it's just really fun to work with. After that, I went ahead and started to create all the rest of his face features. I wanted him to have a lot of like wrinkles and texture to his face, but I knew most of his face wasn't going to be showing because I wanted to add the wraps in certain parts. So I just went ahead and put like a lot of wrinkles close to his eyes and a little bit around the mouth, because I knew this is where I wanted most of his face to show. Then I took some of my tools and I just scraped his face. I added some more wrinkles. You guys can get as creative as you want. This was so fun for me. This is why I love creating Halloween cakes, because I can get so creative and they don't have to look perfect because it's for Halloween, so they can look ugly. To color his eyes, this was the hardest part because I had to have a really steady hand, and sorry about my head being in the way. I forgot that I was filming and I just like put my whole head in the frame, but I just went ahead and finished up the one eye and then repeated that on the other side. And for the color of his face, I just went ahead and mixed a little bit of purple and then a lot of pink. And I added it into some vodka. And don't worry, the vodka evaporates from the modeling chocolate or fondant, whatever medium you're using. So I just went ahead and painted that over. I really wanted the color to be almost like his skin was decaying, but because he's a mummy, he's being preserved really well. So that was kind of the color I was going with. I don't know if that even makes sense, but I hope you guys get what I mean. And I wanted to focus the color more into like the actual wrinkles, so I did wipe away a lot of the color, and this is how it turned out. And then I took some white fondant and I started to add this as my wraps. I cut off the excess, and then I just started to create some texture, which I took a clean kitchen towel and I just rolled this onto my fondant for almost like a gauze looking type of texture. And then I also took some of my tools and I just scraped it every which way. I also kind of stretched out the fondant and cut it away with my fingers so it looked like it was ripped gauze. So when making this cake, my inspiration was from the movie Mummy Wraps. If you guys are a 90s kid and you know what movie I'm talking about, give this video a thumbs up. But I'll insert a picture right here of the mummy that I'm talking about. His name was Harold, and if you guys loved this movie as a kid as well, let me know in the comments down below. To add color on the gauze, I just went ahead and mixed a couple of edible dusts, and I wanted to make some shadowing underneath the gauze, so I just made sure to go heavy underneath each little piece that I placed, and then I put more on the ripped parts to make the gauze look like he's been in his tomb for quite some time. And when adding this is what really makes the texture that you created on the gauze or the fondant really pop, because like all the scratches that you added, the powder or the edible dust goes into that and it just looks really great. And this is how it turned out, you guys. I am absolutely in love with this cake. A couple of things I would do different if I was to create this next time. But I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, please give this video a like and share it with your family and friends. And don't forget to subscribe on your way out. I would love to have you be a part of my YouTube journey. And I hope to see you guys all in the next one. And if you are new here, please introduce yourself in the comments. I would love to get to know you and your name. And I'll see you all in my next one.